All right, welcome back. What I would like to do now is go over the installation of Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is the code editor we're going to be using for the duration of this course, and you'll be using it for most, if not all, of the bootcamp. Okay, so this is going to be the installation. Again, it's straightforward, but usually students and maybe 5 out of 100 students will have issues through no fault of their own. So I just want to walk through it and make sure that everybody's, and if you're having issues, remember the TA hall is open for you on Monday. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go out of order. Let me start back at the beginning. So this is our platform. Starts with stack orientation. I'm going to let you read through all this, but I want to go into where the rubber meets the road and talk about the installation. Okay, so I'm going to go down to the bottom of the module, or I'm sorry, the unit that says getting ready and set up computer. I'm going to click on this chapter. Okay, I'm going to start here. Again, we're going to go a little out of order and it'll make sense why in a few minutes. So I'm going to click Visual Studio Code. And this is the link to download Visual Studio Code. Okay, so there are other instructions down here, but I'm going to walk through it for Windows. So click here, and you're just going to select your operating system. It's very similar on both Mac and Windows, and if you're on Linux, hopefully you know what you're doing. So I'm on Windows, so I'm going to demonstrate for Windows. I'm going to click this link, and it should immediately start installing the VS Code executable. Okay, and that's basically the program that's going to install Visual Studio Code for us. Okay, so when that's done, I'm just going to click this button. By the way, I'm using Google Chrome as my browser. I ask that you do the same. I'm going to be using it a lot. We're going to be using it a lot throughout the duration, and most instructors use Chrome. Nothing about Chrome. It's sort of that way we're all on the same page, and we all have the same interface. Okay, so I ask you to please use Chrome. So once this is here, you just click the executable, and it will open up, and you need to read every word of the license agreement. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. Just click I accept the agreement, click next. If you would like a desktop icon, you can select this button. I prefer not to, so I'm just gonna leave it unchecked. All these boxes checked is fine, and just click next and install, and that's it. And depending on your internet connection, it should just take a few seconds, maybe up to a minute or so, but it's pretty lightweight. It's usually a pretty fast install. Okay, and then once we get there, it's done. So if I leave this box checked, it will start Visual Studio Code as soon as I click finish. So I'm going to just go ahead and leave that checked and click finish. Okay, and you should see basically what I see, or not. It's not going to be exactly the same because I have a lot of things already installed, but you should see something similar to this. Okay, you're probably not going to see the open a Java project either unless you've coded in Java. Okay, so I'm going to click, actually, if I click open folder, that might lead to some confusion. So what I want to do now is talk about this next section, organizing our files. Okay, so you're basically going to create a file for all of your assignments for this course. Okay, and probably the easiest, most straightforward way to do this, it'll work on both Mac and Windows, is just go to your desktop. So just minimize your browser window, minimize your Visual Studio Code window, and then start on your desktop. Okay, right click your desktop, go down to where it says new. I haven't used a Mac in years, so I'm not sure what the interface looks like, but I know it's very similar. Okay, so just going to go to new, folder, and you're going to select folder. Okay, just to reiterate, I'm going to right click, go to new, and select folder. Okay, so now we're going to name the folder. Okay, so now here's where we need to start thinking a little bit differently. Okay, so when we name files and folders from this point forward for the rest of your life, and I'm not exaggerating, you're going to name files and folders without spaces. Okay, so I'm going to call this programming basics. Basics would be a basics. Okay, this is called camel case because this, when you capitalize letters inside the string of characters, it kind of looks like a camel's hump when you have, especially when you have more than one word. So your eye will be able to distinguish between the two words if that first word is capitalized, or I'm sorry, the first letter is capitalized. So that's how we make file names with more than one word. Okay, it's called camel casing. There's other ways to do it, but we'll use camel casing in this class. Okay, and that is going to be the directory where I store all my files for this course. Okay, so now if I go back to Visual Studio Code, now I can say open folder, and I'm going to open the folder that I just created. Okay, so I created that folder on my desktop. So I'm going to go to my desktop and find the folder I just made, which is right here, Programming Basics. So I'm going to click on it so it's highlighted, and then just go down to the bottom where it says Select Folder and just click Select Folder. Okay, and that window will close, and then Visual Studio Code will then open in the right directory where you're going to complete all your assignments. So you're basically, by the end of the week, all this is going to be full of all of the assignments you do for the course. Okay, so I hope that helped. And remember, if you're having trouble, the TA hall is open on the 3rd on Monday. Okay, hope everybody's having a great weekend, and I will see you on Wednesday.